Hi there, this is Datila, and welcome to the BodySlam TNA Post Show review. All right, so tonight we had Sacrifice, and this was quite the show, I have to say. Do you agree?
Sorry for the delay. I'm still in shock. I had just finished it, and I think the better name should be. I don't think it's the word system fights because I don't. That's not a word, but the ending, the image is gonna. And I feel like we should pat ourselves on the back. We did predict this, but the system have all the gold in terms of the world and tag titles, and that's the lasting image of the show.
Yep, the system works. What have Moose, Brian Myers, and Eddie Edwards been telling us this entire time? The system works. Hashtag trust the system.
If you bought stock in it, if you bought stock in it before they were a chance, it's paid off now.
Exactly. All right, let's start off talking about this TNA World Tag Team Title match, ABC versus the System, in the form of Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. Now, I thought this was a pretty good match. Now, we had predicted that the System would win, and that's exactly what happened. Sure, you might say Alicia Edwards got involved, but they still won. There's not an asterisk next to that victory.
No, but I really like how the system, Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, worked as the traditional heels in this match. They really like a lot of old school tactics. I really like that. But yeah, again, we said this was going to happen. I'm glad it happened. I really like ABC, but I just think if you're going to have the system as a dominant faction, the number one faction, you have to give them a run with at least most of the gold for a period of time.
Yeah, I agree. If they're going to be a dominant faction, they need to have all the gold. We got to get some gold on Alicia Edwards here.
Yeah, I definitely think we do. I think there's a few ways they could do that, but whether it's I did predict Camille was going to show up. She didn't. I could maybe see her fitting in, but I would not want necessarily her to be in a group right away. But I could see maybe along the lines, maybe Ash by Elegance joining. Maybe that could fit. Or, maybe there's somebody on the roster that, just hasn't jumped out yet that could be a fit, but could work.
I agree. I remember she was teaming with Giselle Shaw for a little bit.
Yeah.
Even Io says the system works. Was there any doubt?
There was no doubt in my mind.
Same here. But they're, I think ABC's probably going to get their rematch at Rebellion.
Yeah, which will be sad them losing. That's Chris Bay's hometown. That's kind of shitty, but
what a nightmare. Why? Because the system won, or? Okay. Let's go with the main event, which was the TNA World Title match at Eric Young versus Moose. Eric Young in his home country of Canada. Like, he came out swinging. He bounced Moose off the turnbuckles, off the ring apron. He was all over the place. You hate the system? It's okay. So, but we correctly predicted that Frankie Kazan would get involved in this, and that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to them having some sort of stipulation match at Rebellion. Whether it's a last man standing match, just because something that you would expect Eric Young to want his revenge. He came so close many times. He hit a great off the top rope elbow. It looked picture perfect. And then he hit Canadian Destroyer, I believe. But yeah, what were you saying?
He hit 3 pile drivers to Moose and a Canadian Destroyer in Canada.
That's true. That move should win. There should be a rule there should be a rule that says that a Canadian Destroyer has to win in Canada.
Joseph says he hates the system. It's okay. It's okay. Io says it's okay. The crowd hates the system too. Yeah, they do. They hate the system. They were They were not too friendly with the system. But Frankie Kazarian choked out Eric Young with those cables. The spear ended Eric Young, and then at the end, like we talked about, the system was holding all the gold, and that is the way Sacrifice ended.
Well, and I just want to shout out Hannafin. I think that he's become, I don't want to say underrated, because I think he's one of the, because that would like cancel out what I'm about to say, because I think he's one of the best commentators that a lot of people don't talk about, that should be talking about. Just he's really good in his disgust of the heels, especially when Kazarian cost Eric Young the match, was just great. It really made that for me.
Yeah, he's actually really good on commentary. He doesn't get enough credit.
And Matthew Ray Wall has become very good in his own right in terms of the color commentator, and then just, transitioning from a wrestler to commentator role.
I agree.
He's become really good.
He's really good. All right, let's kick things off with the Countdown to Sacrifice, which kicked off with the digital media title match. It was Joe Henry versus Crazy Steve. I feel sorry for Laredo Kid. This was his match. Even Laredo Kid was mentioned in the promo that Crazy Steve did. But through I think it was visa issues, Laredo Kid was unable to compete, so they replaced him with Joe Henry. Now, Joe Henry cuts a typical Joe Henry promo at the start of this. I'm surprised we didn't get a music video on Crazy Steve. But I liked how he said he was Lazy Steve, Baby Steve, 80 Steve, which I thought was hilarious. And then AJ Francis was on commentary. What were your thoughts on Joe Henry's promo on Crazy Steve?
You're gonna be upset at me. It's not that I don't like Joe Henry. I'm kind of over the comedy Joe Henry. I think he's capable of much more. I don't think that he doesn't need to I don't think he has to get rid of all the comedy. But I'm just, I'm ready for him to maybe kind of start going in maybe the world title scene. You know what I mean? Because I think he could be a great main event heel or a main event babyface, whichever. In terms of the match, I did like this match. I do think Crazy Steve, this run is well deserved. But the whole time I was watching this match, and it's probably because he's on commentary, and I'm just thinking about the possibility of him and Rich Swann. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think they need to put the Digital Media Championship on AJ Francis. I just think it'd be very interesting. You know what I mean? And this is, again, I don't know how TNA does it, but they can get me to care about somebody I didn't care about before. And they're doing it now. And I shouldn't, it's like I had this doubt in my voice when I shouldn't, because we've seen it time and time again.
I'm not surprised AJ Francis cost Joe Henry this match. We've been seeing for weeks now it's going to be Joe Henry versus AJ Francis. However, it's not going to happen at Rebellion, because as we saw during the main card, AJ Francis talking about how people used to believe in Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, and the Easter Bunny, and it didn't make them any more real. And so, Santino Marella makes a match for next week, which surprised me, because I really thought this match was going to happen at Rebellion.
Yeah, I was hoping it too, because then I was hoping we'd get a big turn when they finally have Rich Swann turn, which I think will happen. But yeah, I'm surprised this match is happening next week, but I don't have a problem with it. This feud's been building.
Something's gonna go down next week that we probably will get the rematch at Rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Also on the countdown, we had a segment between the Macklin and Rascals, which took the Rascals by surprise, because Macklin did not go out there with them, and they didn't go out there with him. So it seems like they weren't happy about that. And I noticed a pattern, but we'll get into it more in the next match. So the final match on the Countdown to Sacrifice was Speedball Mountain versus the Rascals. This was a really good match. I really love the little throwback that they did, the Rascals did last year, where they used a spray paint, and even I believe, was it Tom or Matthew that bought it up? How that's what they were doing, like the spray paint. They spray painted Speedball Mike Bailey, but it wasn't over for them. Poor Trey Miguel accidentally spray painted Zachary Wentz to this. What were your thoughts on this match?
Oh, you mean when Speedball Mountain cheated?
You think they cheated?
Well, because when the heels do spray paint and it works, yeah, that's part of the match. But yeah, no, they weren't supposed to duck. That's not fair.
Zachary Wentz got spray painted because Speedball ducked.
This was such a fun match, though. The pre-shows, I don't know why they wouldn't be, but they're must watch. This match was so fun.
This match should have been on the main card. You should have switched this with Converse PCO.
Or with another match we'll talk about later. I think you know what I'm talking about.
I think so. But yeah, I agree. This was a really fun match. I enjoyed it. So Speedball Mountain was victorious. So the main card kicked off with Nick Nemeth versus Steve Maclin, the match that we've been waiting for. This was a great opening match. My one complaint was production issues. The production issues ruined tonight's show, which sucked because it was such a great show.
I wouldn't say it ruined it, but it just, I think it just kind of hurt because they've been so strong lately. At least they were able to come back from it. But yeah, it did suck.
It did. I hated how like the stuff kept freezing. I thought it was my internet. I was like, is my internet going faulty? But then everybody started talking about that the production quality. And it sucks though, because like if someone is new to TNA and they're like, oh, I'm gonna check out Sacrifice, and then that happens, it could turn a lot of people away from the product.
Yeah, that's true. And that'd be unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, because you pop in at the wrong time, you're gonna see a faulty stream, and then you're like, oh, I'm not gonna watch this,
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why I feel like some people still don't take TNA seriously, because of stuff like that.
Yeah, which sucks.
Yeah, it definitely does. Anywho, back to the match. One of my favorite spots in this match was when Nick Nemeth did a series of 10 elbows to Steve Maclin, and the 10th one was from the top rope. I really also like how they used each other's finisher. Maclin used the danger zone, and then Nick Nemeth used the KIA. I was like, adding insult to injury.
Yeah, this might have been my second favorite match on the show. I really like this match. And we're getting the 6-man match, I believe, on next week, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I can't wait for that.
I was worried for a second when Steve Maclin missed the crosshairs and he landed in the timekeeper's area.
And I do think that they'll address how things don't go well when they don't stick together. So I do predict the Rascals and Maclin the Rascals and Maclin to get the win this Thursday.
Whatchamacallit? Jade, Io says, hope Jade is fine. Maclin went torpedo out of the ring. Yeah, he did.
Yes.
So one thing I noticed was the fact that the Rascals went out there without Steve Maclin, they lost. Steve Maclin went out there without the Rascals, and he lost, which was interesting because the other times that Steve Maclin has gone out there with the Rascals win. And the Rascals went out there with Steve Maclin, he won. So very interesting dynamic, and I feel like that's going to come into play.
They need to stick together.
Exactly. You're just saying that because you're a Maclin and a Rascal.
And I think, and they could be the second top faction in TNA with them aligned.
Yeah, they can. And even more of a reason why, if they bring in trios belts, they could possibly win.
Definitely.
I could see them winning that, All right, we get an interview with the system, and basically, they're talking about how they came to Sacrifice to add more gold, which was not a surprise. They did add more gold, as we talked about earlier in the show. And then Moose mentions how even though he sees Eric Young as a legend in TNA, he's going to force him to pass the torch because, why? The system will leave as champions, which did happen. You know?
I would like, I'm just going to single out on him saying, saying that, because I would like if part of this run he just takes out former legends, not taking on even, but defeats them one by one. I would like that.
You mean like former TNA world champions? Or
Well,
just
TNA legends? Just like legends of TNA, you know what I mean? Because Eric Young is like basically one of the originals.
Okay. If only AJ Styles can come back for like a night.
If only.
If only.
But there are other people like they could do Moose vs. Rhino. They could do. I'm blanking off, but there's a lot of people they could do.
Yeah, there is. We get a quick Khan segment, and that what did that timekeeper do to Khan to deserve to be treated like that? Like he didn't do anything to Khan, and yet Khan just tossed him around like he was a rag doll.
Well, first of all, I hope Kazarian was taking notes because he was suspended for the same thing. So I hope him and his lawyer were watching, and hopefully they can get that case thrown out. But yeah, no, he snapped, and that was before the match.
Yeah. And he called himself a monster, and then he called out the French-Canadian Frankenstein.
And then they used, I think, every cooking sheet ever made.
Right? So we had a no DQ match, PCO versus Khan. You're right. They did use a lot of cooking sheets on each other here. I don't know about you, but it kind of felt like this was the weakest match on the whole show.
Yes.
I wanted more. Do you remember last year when PCO fought Steve Macklin? And like that image of Steve Macklin all bleeding and stuff after he successfully had retained the TNA awards. I wanted something like that out of this match, and we didn't get it. And I was really surprised by the fact that PCO won here. I feel like this was Khan's match to win, because if you're going to build Khan up as a new monster, he needed to go over PCO, and that didn't happen. So I wonder if it's like a contract situation here.
Well, the first match was a no DQ that they had, but it left with Khan standing strong. You have this match where it's not like PCO, destroyed him. So if they're going to do a third match, unless, it is a Khan thing, I'm definitely having Khan win.
I agree. I think the third match should be a Monsters Boss match.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's the only way that you'd settle it. So we get the Knockouts Tag Title match. It's the newly renamed team of Spitfire, Jody Threat, and Danny Luna versus MK Ultra. Now, MK Ultra came out there with them changed. Like, they came out swinging. I dislike how short this match was. I wanted more. I was really surprised that Spitfire won, because I didn't think they would win, especially since MK Ultra just regained those tag titles. I feel like they're playing hot potato. And then at the end, Masha shoved Kelly. I dislike that because we barely have a Knockouts tag team division, literally only 3 teams, and you split up MK Ultra, we're down to 2 teams. Like, I get maybe you want to put Masha Slamovich in the Knockouts title scene. Great. But you split up MK Ultra, you're down to 2 teams in the Knockouts tag team division. We need more teams.
Yeah, this match, that really upset. And this is what I was saying. If they were going to have that match be this short, I would have put this on the pre-show. But yeah, while I'm happy that Spitfire won because I like Danny Luna and Jody Threat, I was just so upset that it seems like they're teasing a breakup between Masha and Killer Kelly, because it's not like they've been a team for like it's been 6 months, maybe. And we only have 3 teams, so I hope that's not what happens. So we'll just have to wait and see on this one. But yeah, a little upset on this one.
And I agree with you. With how short this match was, you could have replaced this with Speedball Mountain.
Yeah.
We get the newest TNA signee, Hammerstone versus Josh Alexander 2. Io says, hopefully a new tag team comes along. I agree. Hopefully a new tag team does come along because we need more tag teams. So, this match was incredible. Now, you and I both correctly predicted that Hammerstone would win. We didn't know how he was going to win. Io says, as far as Marsha Kelly, I figured at some point they'd go back to singles action, especially Marsha. I get that, but we need a tag team to replace them. So, Hammerstone went low. He gave Josh Alexander a low blow, then hit him with the Nightmare Pendulum, which took off the headgear, and he won. You can add his name to the list of people that have beaten Josh, and that list is short. And then, at the end, Hammerstone claimed Josh's headgear. Oh, this feud is so not over now.
No, but Ray Walt said it. He said that this was a must-win for Hammerstone, and I think this was the right decision on how to book. I think you need to establish him as another top heel instead of just. I think there's too many baby faces, so.
I mean, Homeboy took 12 German suplexes and then a crossbody, and Josh still didn't beat him. Let me see. I like this match. Hammerstone as a heel, nice call. He took Josh's headgear as a souvenir. He did.
That was a great. Oh, sorry. That was a great image of the headgear falling off.
It was. Now, I have to say, I want to see more of Alex Hammerstone going forward. This is only the second match I've watched of him. I don't know if you saw this post-match promo, the digital exclusive, but definitely after that promo, Alex Hammerstone is a future TNA World Champion.
This main event scene is very stacked.
Oh, I agree. Okay, we get a quick interview with Time Machine, and Kushida is asking Shelly if he's angry at him. Sabin says that even though they argue, they're still brothers, and then just Shelly doesn't really say anything. He kind of just agrees with what they say. So this leads into a 6-man tag match: Mustafa Ali and the Grizzled Young Vets versus Time Machine. Now, if you remember, it was originally supposed to be Mustafa Ali in the Good Hands, but yesterday Mustafa Ali replaced the Good Hands with the Grizzled Young Vets during this match. Now, this was a great fucking match. Excuse me for cursing, but this was a fucking match. This is probably one of my favorite matches of the night. And the Good Hands still went out there though. Did you see that?
I know. I did not notice that. I don't know how I missed that.
They still went out there. Well, I only saw John Skyler. I didn't see Jason Hotch out there. So I don't know if Jason Hotch went, but I know Skyler went out there. I think.
Oh, sorry. Go.
I think Mustafa Ali and the Grizzled Young Reds worked really well together.
Yes, another potential trio.
I don't know if there'll be a trio. I mean, wasn't one of the reasons why the Grizzled Young Vets left because they were with the Schism and stuff? Maybe they don't want to be in a trio.
It doesn't have to be all the time because a trio is more of just people who are aligned with each other.
Good point.
I think Alex Shelley is turning heel. A couple things. A bold prediction of mine, when he won the belt, I definitely think Mustafa Ali is going to cash in his belt for option C. And I just think because it can work in two ways in terms of it's a good way. If he's not signed, it's a way to have him have one final match and then he drops the belt. Or if he is signed, it's a way for him, to win the belt. But I also could see a scenario where, because since Chris Sabin turned heel when he won the X Division title back in the day and cashed an option C and became a world champion, I could see a scenario where Alex Shelley turns on him, wins the X Division title, and goes on a path to cash an option C and get his belt back. So I think there's a lot of things that can happen with all the seeds that have been planted with all these wrestlers that were involved in this match.
I would even say some miscommunication with Shelly Sabin because is interesting. It is interesting because Sabin accidentally hit Shelly with the Holuva kick. I know he didn't do it intentionally, that still. And it's so weird. And I think commentary mentioned it, that when Time Machine works together, they're usually a strong, cohesive unit. But it really seems like because Alex Shelley is so mad at Kushida for throwing in the towel, it seems like his emotions are getting the better of him and they're not functioning together like the unit that they are.
That's why I think there's also a chance we could see a heel Machine Guns and Chris Sabin and Shelley turning on Kushida. And then Kevin Knight having Kushida's back, obviously.
So we're going to see the Motor City Machine Guns versus the Intergalactic Jet Setters?
Which would be a great match.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a great match. But speaking of great matches, give me Mustafa Ali versus Kushida in singles competition.
I actually want Kushida to move up to the world title scene. I think he deserves it.
He did face Steve Macklin. He did have a hell of a match with Steve Macklin last year for that title.
Yes.
Yeah. So Mustafa Ali and the Grizzly Young Vets win this, and at the end they shake hands. So definitely, like you said, a lot of interesting things coming out. All right. Last match, we're going to talk about the 3-way for the Knockouts title. Jordynne Grace versus Sasha Steelz versus Xia Brookside. I think Xia Brookside is a future Knockouts champion. She definitely held her own against Jordynne Grace and Sasha Steelz here. But this was a really great match. No surprise, Jordynne Grace successfully retained when she hit the Juggernaut driver to Xia Brookside.
Yeah, this was my favorite match. Xia Brookside is so good. At this stage in her career, she's very good. And just one little thing, if we're going to lose a team, there were points in this match where I thought that Tasha and Xia were working very well together. So if they became a tag team, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Xia is very good. Agreed. She has a bright future. She definitely does have a bright future ahead of her. But no surprise, she took the pin here. They weren't going to allow Tasha Steelz to take the pin so quickly.
And yeah, Jordan's has to be, when talking about best women's wrestlers in the world, she has to be at the top. She's so good.
I agree, she is. She's really good. I actually like this better than the Knockouts tag title match.
Yeah. I think this was the best match on the show, so at least this is my favorite. This was so good.
I agree. All right. You got any final comments as we get ready to wrap up here?
Yeah. You're a nice person. Let me ask you a question, because it's having to happen. If I fell down, would you laugh at me?
Of course not. I would help you up.
Thank you. Do you see Tom Hannafan laughing at Iceman when he fell down on his way? He looks seriously hurt. I'm disgusted.
Poor Ash got champagne over her, and poor Jordan, she slipped. That's true. That was unintentional. That was unintentional. I'm sure that was not what it was. Xia Brookside sent Tasha Steelz into Ash, so she got mad, and then Iceman slipped on the way out.
And that was an $8,000 dress Ash said.
$8,000
I believe that's
dress.
what she said. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. All right, but overall, I thought tonight, production issues aside, I thought that tonight was a great show. I don't think it was as strong as No Surrender, but it definitely was. It definitely was a pretty good show. I'd have to give this an 8 out of 10.
I think it's only not as strong as No Surrender because those technical issues. Because I think every match delivered. You know, if you want to say that the tag match didn't, that's fine. And then Con and PCO, at least we got a finish this time. So I do think this was a net. I would say 8.5, closer to 9 out of 10.
Okay, I'll give you that. But still, I think what ruined it for me the most was those production issues. It
And that's fair.
and it ruined it. Next up, Rebellion, which I'll be at Rebellion. All right, Burt. Where can people find you?
Just on X at Burt Mac on 11.
And you can find me on Twitter at Datila_. I talk about all things wrestling, Raw, SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, Friday Night SmackDown, Rampage, TNA especially. Thank you to all the people watching. Your support means a lot to us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever we go live. And we'll see you guys next week for the fallout from Sacrifice. Bye.